was thinking about the better days. My youth so happy, my hair so nappy, had an afro.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Nightcap. Sorry, I am 5 minutes late because I had to reboot my PC. For some reason, the microphone wasn't working after I just spent the last 10 minutes setting everything up. So shout out to you, man. Big up to everybody. Big up to 18. Big up to D. Big up to Cam. Big up to Andrew. Big up all of you lot, guys. Let's talk about the game, shall we? Now, yeah, there's quite a bit to go on, but I'm going to give my thoughts. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts as well. Listen, guys, my message tonight is that you can't win them all. No team has. Even the greatest teams, Invincibles, Arsenal, we drew 12 games. Even the greatest Man City team that scored 100 points, they drew games. It just happens, and it's going to continue to happen. But let's take a deep dive into this game, guys, and then we'll have a look at the player ratings. Hold on, guys. Let me just check. Let me just check this quickly. Audio, yep. Hold on. Here we go. Am I coming through okay, guys? Can you let me know if I'm coming through okay? Yep. Good. Yep. Cam says big up. Okay, good. We're coming through. All right. So what happened, Andrew, is the comments coming through? Actually, let me enlarge the comments because I've been doing that for every stream. Let me just increase the size so that you guys can see what the comments are. Hope you're doing well, Andrew. Hope you're doing well, D, 18, Cam. As big up to all of you guys. Andrew says, I just want to repeat of tie by Sunderland steward was atrocious and unacceptable. It was. And you know what I don't like about those things? Like, I've done martial arts for 10 years. I've done Taekwondo, Wing Chun, and then people won't come up to me, you know. If they see a 6-foot guy, they won't come up. But because Ty is small, because the guy is thin, is thin-frailed, is small, they're the ones that get picked on. And I don't like them things, you know. I don't like them things. It's just like, it's what we've been seeing throughout our times, even going back to the 80s when we had the issues with skinheads and all that stuff. I notice it's the smaller guys that get picked on. But anyway, we move on. D says, look at this perspective, Cam. When we've got highest defensive line in the are shown in that stat chart, with many attackers out, that defensive sub, it pushes us back. It does. Let's talk about that, guys. So, guys, look, I just want to staple plate that when teams are really good like Arsenal, opposing teams just try to make adjustments. We're well into the season now. Like 25% of the season is gone. This is the 11th game, and teams know what Arsenal's all about. Yeah. And football is constantly evolving with every match and every play. And we see in NBA, in NFL football, in Formula One racing, what happens when a team is so good? What happens, guys? What happens when in American football, if you're so good at running the ball or if you're so good at passing the ball, what happens? Teams set up to stop that. Over a time, teams set up to stop that. And when somebody does stop it, everybody else starts to copy. Yeah? The same with NBA. The same with Formula One. When someone comes out with something that makes their car faster, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if you look across the grid, all the teams are copying it. That's just the nature of it. So, look, guys, I'm going to be, and this is my first segment here, guys, is kind of sticking up for what Sunderland did because, you know, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a lot of narrative out there that this was our fault. When the nature of it is that you've got to give Sunderland some credit. It's been months since someone last scored against us. I call him Harry Potter, Voldemort, the guy, Nick Voldemort from Newcastle. I call him Voldemort. He was the last person to score against Arsenal in September. We are now mid-November, and we're talking about someone scoring against us. But And I said on the stream, guys, I don't care about shots on target. I don't care about clean sheets or because those aren't the things that wins you titles. Winning is what wins you titles. Getting 3 points is what makes you win titles. So remember, guys, is it 2000? What was it? 2001 or 2003? When Arsenal let in only 17 goals that season, which is the second lowest of all time. What happened, guys? What happened? We didn't win the title. So it's nice having all those things, and those things are key towards you being successful and winning championships. But at the end of the day, winning is what counts. So that's why a lot of people, I'm sticking up now for the fan base and Arsenal fans that are frustrated by not getting the 3 points. But back to Sunderland. Dee's saying Sunderland haven't lost a home game. So yeah, since the 30th of August, and we nearly beat them at their ground. Yeah, even in injury time when it was 2-2, we still could have won. It's not so much without our main striker, but without several players from Arsenal. The bottom line is, we were down to our bare minimum. We were down to our bare bones. I don't think people realize that. We're down to our bare bones. Andrew says, every now and then, there's a reminder that an assumption is dangerous and play the opposition on what they produce during the actual match and not their past performances. Yeah, because look what teams have done against us. They've just parked the bus and low block. Every team, leading up to it. Sunderland said, nah, we didn't do that against Chelsea. We beat Chelsea. We didn't do that in all of our other games, and we were successful, and we ain't going to do that against Arsenal. And also, Tottenham don't play us like that. Tottenham don't. Low block. When we play Tottenham, it is hell for leather. Tottenham don't care about records and shots on target and not letting goals in. As far as they're concerned, it is on any given Saturday or weekend, regardless of who's the form team. That's how it's been with Arsenal and Tottenham for decades. So Sunderland came out and approached us. It wasn't even really a mid-block at times. They really came at us. And so I want to give credit to them because, guys, look, managers and coaches spend hours on footage looking for weakness. And the fact is, guys, Arsenal don't have any weaknesses. They don't. When you look at Arsenal, they've scored the third highest goals and they've got the best defense. And on top of that, mentally, physically, tactically, with Mikel Arteta, Arsenal are a force to be reckoned with. So it's hardly surprising that none of their goals this week against Sunderland were set pieces. All of our goals this weekend were outfield goals. And on top of that, you've got to have the precise delivery. You've got to put the ball on the money, and so we can take our advantage from set pieces. So, look, man, I just think Sunderland knew what the challenge was for them to come into this game, and they were fully prepared. And let's face it, we're always fully prepared, even with our injuries. I think you've got to look at the fact of what Arsenal do as well is they do blocking really well. We don't see much blocking. We see a bit of blocking in football, but Arsenal have mastered the art of blocking. You see it in NBA, in American football, when they're setting screens in NBA, when they're blocking in football. And then you see Arsenal sort of do that in the penalty area, don't you? You see them blocking out the goalkeeper. You see Gyökeres and those guys blocking out space to create more space block in the box. This is nothing new. But if you're good at it, you can really be stopped. And so that's what Arsenal are good at. So let's throw it back to Sunderland. Sunderland had a plan. And defender Dan Ballard, he even said he believes his team always has a game plan to win. So you tell me something. When you go into a low block, that's not the mentality and the mind for you to win a game. When you go into a low block, it's almost like when you know you're fighting a Mike Tyson or George Foreman and you're coming into the ring like this. Your first instinct is, I'm not going to get knocked out. That's not an instinct to win. That's an instinct to survive. So all these teams we've been playing, most of them this season, including Man City, came up to us in survival mode. Sunderland was like, nah, we're going to win this game. And as it stands, guys, look, Sunderland have scored every game at home this season. They've scored the most late games. I think they've 5 goals they've scored in injury time. So, and they defend like their lives depend on it. And the fact that they were moving the advertising boards, right? Hoarding them closer to the field to limit the space for Arsenal to do their throw-ins. They was just creating chaos on that field. And you know what, guys? Part of me loved it. Part of me loved it. Because, guys, isn't this what we want? Yeah? Cam, 18, Andrew, D, all of you guys out there. Isn't this what we want? We don't want easy. We want teams. We want to win this the right way. So when we step into your yard and we're away from home, we want you to come at us because we're the favorites. We ain't won nothing yet, but everybody knows we're the best team. Fact. Everyone knows that we're the best team. And we're not, unlike Man City, we're not dependent on one player. It's the whole Arsenal team. All of them defend as a team. We've got 11 players who have scored goals this season. 11 different goal scorers this season in all competitions. That's mad. So, in that respect, guys, I think this was the first result-altering goal that Arsenal have conceded in the 90th minute this season. When 90-minute comes, Arsenal are rock solid. They win games. They see out their games. And Arteta, I know a couple of you are going to talk about Mascara and why did we bring him on. That was the right thing to do, guys. And I'll tell you why. Because we were tired. And Eze had ran his legs. He looked at which was the most impact that we can have by taking a player off, and it was Eze. Eze could barely run when he walked off the field. And so, look, this Arsenal team had not conceded in 812 minutes in all competitions. And it was the first time since, May 2023, that we have failed to beat a promoted side in the Premier League. That is like a 14-game run that we've beaten promoted teams. It's been that long. Also, it's the first time that we conceded more than 1 goal in a match all season. And in fact, we've now let in 5 goals in the entirety of this season in all competitions. 5 goals, and 2 of them were scored by Sunderland. Isn't that funny? Sunderland have scored 40% of the goals that Arsenal have let in. That's how good we are. So look, man, let's talk about Arsenal. Enough about Sunderland. We give them credit. They deserve it. Yeah. D said Liverpool have lost 15 games in 2025, 2 more than United, and they're gone as challengers. He'd say that you can't lose more than 3 or 4 if you're pushing it and win a title. Totally 100% agree. It's Arsenal versus 130 charges. Yep. I 100% agree with that. And that's what makes Liverpool out of the title race, because they've already lost those more than enough games. D goes on to say Moreno did a job, but he was blowing out he was tired. And notice he doesn't press as well as Gyökeres. You've actually said Gyökeres is a pressing demon. He does a great job. Yeah, and that's what Moreno couldn't do. Press at that level. So we're really missing these injured players that we've got now. We're really missing them. And Andrew says, what's important for me is not to let the result become an excuse or reason to abandon everything. Yeah, you know what, Andrew? I don't know who would be making excuses, because I don't think there was anything wrong with the result. The only time you'll see people making excuses is if they felt the result was unjust. I felt the result was just. I felt Sunderland deserved their point. Overall, I think Arsenal were the better team. But the way Sunderland came at us, physically and tactically, no team has come like that at us before this season. And that's why I say that they deserve their point. Because, at some point, you've got to raise your hand and clap them guys off the field and said, you know what? You guys did the job. You stood toe-to-toe. Arsenal are the most physically imposing team in the league, and you stood up to us man-to-man and was counted. And you got nothing but respect for that. But on the flip side of, I know you're talking about excuses, but on the flip side of what actually didn't work is This is the weakest you'll ever see Arsenal this season. And there's three things there. Number one, this was our third away game in a row. Yeah. Number two, the attacking options is completely depleted. It's completely depleted. And number three, the only options we had on the bench, attacking options, was a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and an 18-year-old. And if you guys were watching games, you was, me, Tony, and Gary all agreed this ain't the right time you're going to throw. This isn't the game you want to throw the likes of Dalman in. It just isn't. We've seen what happens when teams foul him a lot, and we're concerned about the injuries to him and everything. But this just wasn't a team for that. And I think Mosquera was the right substitution. Maybe Ben White, but Ben White ain't looked fit all season. Why would I put him into a game of this magnitude? So I think that's where Arteta was. He was stuck with it. He could have brought on Wanyeri. But remember what we've been saying about Wanyeri all season, guys. He don't influence a game in that creative sense. Yeah? You tell me, when has Wanyeri ever come on this season in 3 months and influenced the game as a number 10? Yeah? And look, we're not dogging him out. We all agree he is in his learning curve as a 10. He's been average all season. He's not been poor by any means, but he's not excelled. He's not played up to the Odegaard level. We know the Odegaard level, boys. We know the Odegaard level. And then we also know that Wanyeri is a beast when he's playing on the right wing. He's a beast. He got 10 goals last season. But as a number 10, and I've said it almost every week, I think he's okay. I don't think he's nothing special. He's never shown me anything to say, wow, that was an outstanding man-of-the-match performance. I haven't seen it. So would I put him on in this game? No. No, I wouldn't have put him on in this game. We had enough to see the game out, even though we was on tired legs. And there was nothing wrong with the substitution. And if that goal was prevented by Raya and Gabriel, we wouldn't be having this discussion, right? But even then, guys, Arsenal went 1-0 down, and we still... And at the time when we were 1-0 down, there were a few long faces. Yeah, there were a few. But we were raging, weren't we? Saying, let's see another Newcastle. This is where champions come to the fore. And what did Arsenal do? Half-time adjustments by Arteta, and they came out banging. And look, man, Arsenal looked good in the second. It's probably, I'm going to go on record now and say this is the best second half performance I've seen from Arsenal this season against Sunderland. That was the best. The football was scintillating. Sunderland couldn't live with us. There was about 25-minute stretch. We was just destroying them. Zubimendi came into the game. Rice was on point. Trossard was elite. Saka stepped up because Saka had a poor first half. And it just looked, we were nothing short of incredible in that second half. And our off-the-ball work, guys, was just exceptional. Remember, guys, I think people forget, though. For the last 3 years, Arsenal have been playing in a single pivot with Thomas Partey. And no top team in Europe plays a single pivot. That man Partey was so good that he gave us something that no other team could have. And now we've kind of fallen in line with the conventional play of a double pivot, which offers extra protection on your defensive line. Every major top team in Europe does it. And this season, Arsenal are playing with a conventional double pivot. And guys, teams are finding it near impossible to play against us. They are. So Sunderland's key tactic in this game was to lob the ball over the top, because no team has been able to play through our midfield. None. Yes, it's a low percentage chance when you lob the ball in the air, but that's better than not registering a shot. Sunderland came into this game seeing in 4 out of the last 6 games, Arsenal's not even surrendered a shot on target. So what hope did they have? And so that percentage of chance of lobbing the ball into the box, and they ran with it. For the first goal, look, for the first goal, there was Declan Rice should have dealt with the ball when the goalkeeper shot it from long on the edge of the penalty area. Should have dealt with it. He misjudged the bounce, and so did Gabriel. And then Ballard got the end of it, and the finish was brilliant. But you got to put it down to Declan Rice, and then Gabriel. Even though Gabriel his man, the bounce caught Gabriel out as well. On the second goal, Gabriel lets his man get the inside of him, which is what he did against Voldemort in Newcastle. Voldemort. This Harry Potter thing is killing me. So Gabriel was at fault for the second goal. And then maybe you can talk about Raya didn't help but then Raya comes out for crosses all the time. He's the best at Europe at doing that. I sent a stat to you guys on the forum. 14 times he comes out to collect the ball. The next goalkeeper behind him is only 6. So he comes out for double the more crosses and set pieces than any other goalie. And what it does, guys, you can't measure that in terms of goals because it's threat away from the defense. If a ball comes into the box and it's 50-50 striker and centre-back, Raya takes that problem away from the defensive line. They don't have to deal with that threat because he nullifies it. And there is no stat. That's the reason why we have so many clean sheets. But there's no stat that exemplifies that type of play in terms of the amount of harm and danger that he wipes out. So he had to come for that ball. He sensed danger, had to come for it. But look, Gabriel is our best defender. He's only human. Humans make mistakes. I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no problem with it. But look, guys, overall, the tactical adjustment that we saw from both teams, from Sunderland hitting the long ball over, from Mikel Arteta at halftime coming back in the game to nearly win the game, that's just modern football. These changes are modern football, and we love it. It allows teams to be more flexible, adaptable, strategic in their approach, and we kind of get it. Yeah, Arsenal aren't the only team that can do this at a high level. Other teams can as well, and we saw that with Sunderland. I said it, guys. This isn't the only time we're going to draw a game. Yeah, it's not going to be the last time we're going to draw a game. It definitely won't be the last time. But I think overall, guys, the result reflected in both sides' performances and tactics, and I'm good with that. Let's go player ratings. Yeah, let's say what you guys are saying first before I go into player ratings. D's saying, yeah, our weakest team out there today. Don't know about the rest of you. What irked me in the lead up to the game was Arsenal's media pushing Jesus. Yeah, I know. That would have only been an important thing if he was going to play. And I knew this back from before it broke. Like today, I got the news that, and actually I don't know if I should say this because I don't want to throw my people on the bus. But anyway, let me just say I got some good news about Madueke. And just leave it, as I don't want to throw my sources under the bus. But we're going to have, within the next week, within the next 7 days, a plethora of players coming back into first team training. So let's just leave it at that. Yeah. So things are going to start to look up now. But D goes on to say, if he's not fit to play, then don't be bringing out the teas and videos. Yeah, I agree. Exactly what I just said. Also, it says Haaland has scored 66% of their goals, 14 and 21, and we're sharing them around. Yep, which is what I said earlier in the video. Yep. Odegaard, Havertz, Madueke are still yet to come back. And Gyökeres was just hitting his stride, wasn't he, D, before the injury? Andrew says Eze is not a number 10. Agreed. Wanyeri should not have the pressure placed on him to replay. Yeah, and that's kind of why I think the managing his minutes is the right thing to do for Arteta. Dowman cannot have the same experience as Abu Diaby. Yeah, and again, that's why we were saying he shouldn't have come on in that game. It just wasn't the right game physically for Max Dowman. And then D says, check both teams' cornering stats. My argument is that our goal scoring is more suitable, but time will tell whether the squad beats an incredible individual. I prefer to be in this position where we're at. Yep, 100%, bro. 100%. So, guys, let's look at the player ratings and see where we're there. Yeah, let's look at the player ratings and see where we're there. David Raya, guys, I give him a 7.5. Couldn't do anything about Ballard strike, and he made some incredible saves to keep us in the game. One was a triple save, guys. A triple save. I ain't seen that before. I ain't seen that. A triple save. I haven't seen him make that before. He's the best at coming out for crosses, as I said, guys. But and that can't be measured, as I said. But I think because of the second goal, which Gabriel was at fault for, and maybe Raya as well. Maybe I'll drop a point for him for that. So the 8.5, I'm going to go 7.5. Yuri and Timber, guys, I ain't giving him less than a 7 this season. Man ain't got less than a 7 this season. So, and I said I'm surprised Ben White didn't start, but considering we know how unfit he is, every time we see him play, he looks sluggish, he looks slow. He just doesn't look to the same player. And I hope and pray that he finds the form that we know he can. Something looks internally wrong with Ben White. And maybe that's why we're not seeing him play. And if that's the case, kudos to Arteta, the coaching staff, and the medical team. Yeah? If that's the right thing to do, then it's the right thing to do. But with Timber, guys, again, great combination play with Saka, versatile enough to stop Sunderland from getting any advantage from us as well. So solid 7. Saliba, I'm going to give off. Put in a solid performance. Wasn't a fault for any of the goals. Good play from him. Gabriel, I'm going to give him a 6. Did you guys see with the goals as well? He made sliding tackles to try and stop both goals. Well, the first goal, really. He made sliding tackle to stop it and just inches off getting a block on it. Just inches. And so you see, these are the fine lines. But as I said, guys, he can't be perfect in every game. So, you've got to take his licks on that one on the second goal. Ricardo Calafori, solid 7, guys. Helped with the second. Fantastic overlapping play by dragging a defender wide to open up the space for Trossard to score. He's just the best left back in the league right now. Guys, people talk about Timber's the best right back. You tell me a left back who is better than Ricardo Calafori in the Premier League. I want to know if there's a left back better than him in the Premier League. A shutdown left back. He ain't been at fault for no goals. He overlaps and his combination play is impeccable, and he's a threat to score. He's another option in the box which takes a man away from our strikers. I love it. Ezra, I'm going to give Ezra a 6. I heard some of you lot throwing 5s around, but I actually think that why he gets a 6 is because even though he had a subpar performance, he's getting into good positions around the box to score. And every week, guys, we see him go close, don't we? We see him get in that position to go close. He had a volley that was blocked. He had one that was over the bar. So if there's one positive we can draw from his game, it's the goals. He's got goals in him. Yeah? Ezra has got goals in him. And I think that's a staple plate for him. But it's enough. I've seen enough guys to understand that he's an 8. He's an 8 or an 11 on the left. That's his best spot. Right now, he's filling in and doing a number, and that's all we can ask from him. But Mendy, he had a solid 7. I think he had a good game. Almost scored another crazy volley, hit the crossbar, which was brilliant. But then he went on to do the assist for Trossard's stunning goal. The yellow card he got, which led to them scoring, by the way, led to Sunderland scoring. The yellow card he got for that was ridiculous because if you look at the challenge, he won the ball. Zumba Mendy got his foot and won the ball, and he got a yellow card for it. How? It led to their goal. That led to his booking, which will probably see him facing a 1-game suspension. These are the things like, and look, I know Andrew said we shouldn't be making excuses, but it's just these. Why do these things keep happening to us, Andrew? It's just like, why do these things keep happening to us? That's never a booking. It's never a free kick. So therefore, that wouldn't have been a goal. Declan Rice, it gets an 8. Solid all-round performance. Intercepted 4 passes. Major tackle. That one tackle that led to Saka's goal. And he almost tried to lob the goalie Beckham style, didn't he? But he was just off target. Rice is a different animal this week, man. Rice is a different animal this week. This month, this season, all over. He's bringing it every single game. And I love it. So I'm going to give him an 8. Bukayo Saka, I thought in the second half he was impressive. First half, we hardly saw him. And I know you lot on a weekly thing now. You lot are on a weekly thing where you're calling him greedy and he don't want to give the ball to anybody. Let's remember this guy is second on the team in chances created behind Martin Odegaard. So look, I said this before. I think the captain's armband is weighing him a little. It's weighing him down a little. And because of that, I think he's overplaying the game. I think he's overplaying. He feels like he needs to lead this team. But guys, let's not discount the finish for the goal was on his weak foot. And it was pinpoint bottom right corner. Pinpoint. Pace. Goalie had no chance on it. Good, really, really good finish. But, you know, Sunderland couldn't lay a finger on Saka in the second half. Saka gets a 7.5 for me. Mikel Moreno, he did provide the assist for the equaliser, guys, but his game winner as well in injury time was blocked by Ballard. Ballard was a menace in that game, man. Ballard probably ain't going to play another game like that all season. But I feel like Moreno was decent. You got what you could out of him in a situation where you've got no Jesus, no Gyökeres, no Havertz, and you're down to your bare bones again. That's all you can ask from him. That's all you can ask from him. He wasn't terrible by any means. What you don't want is a guy that you're just going to be a bad performer. You don't want that. You want a guy pulling his weight, and that's what Moreno does. Trossard, guys, I'm going to give an 8. Such a great performance by Trossard. There are times when he goes missing a little bit. I get it. But this is why I've always preferred him over Martinelli, because the intelligence is off the scale. He scored that cracking goal without any backlift. And he caused them a ton of problems down that left-hand side with his smart play. Him and Calafiori, though, guys, they're really starting to click, aren't they? Him and Calafiori are really starting to click on that left-hand side. So, yeah, he gets an 8. Arteta also gets an 8. Some of you lot might say, but we didn't win. But it wasn't about that. It was really about understanding the situation on the fly and the halftime adjustments that saw us from 1-0 down to 2-1 up, and really, really should have won the game had it not been for Gabriel. So I'm not going to put that on Arteta. I thought Arteta, considering that he had a limited squad, if Raya and Gabriel do their jobs, we win. Yeah? A trip to the stadium alike, guys, is always going to be difficult for Arsenal. But I think Arteta did enough to win the game as far as managing goes. And there's no shame in being drawn, coming up with a draw by Sunderland. There's no shame in it, guys. Teams are going to go there and struggle to win this season. They're going to struggle. Teams are going to struggle to. Look what happened to Chelsea the game before they lost. So, look, the cat is out on the bag of them. The whole league was sitting down watching that game thinking, oh, man, Sunderland are the real deal. They're top 4, guys. Sunderland are top 4. They're a promoted team that's in the top 4. That's never happened. That's really never happened. I haven't checked the stats, so I shouldn't say it's never happened. And so let's close this out now by hearing what you guys are saying. Andrew is saying the Sunderland player may have beaten Gabriel to the ball, but it was not a precise strike. If Raya had stayed on his goal line, yeah, it was a couple of saves. Yeah, I agree. But I think part of the reason why Raya does come is because he probably knows Gabriel's not going to go there. It's all about positioning. If Gabriel's in front of him, blocking him out and holding his arm out, you know, Martin Keown was famous for that, then the striker's not going nowhere. But the striker got inside leverage on Gabriel, and that was it. And I think Raya saw that, and that's why Raya came off his line. Because the only chance of us defending that would have been if Raya was able to punch the ball or get a connection on it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if he stays in the middle, at least he makes a save. Andrew says, what Arteta has done extremely well is he can generally make substitutions which do not hamper the defensive capabilities. It is not the same for offensive strategy due for the injuries. I agree. And the one good thing is, Andrew, what's Arteta going to do when he does get a full squad? What's going to be the offensive strategy? Do you remember last season when we didn't have much choice and he just put Havertz, Nketiah and Jesus on just for the fun of it, just because he had nothing else to do. He had no other options. And so this season, the question going out now is what's going to be the offensive strategies with substitutions when we're in these situations. So that's a good quote there, Andrew. D says Richie went missing for the first goal and put Dec in a difficult position to cover two men. As I said, I looked at the replay and I think Declan just misjudges the bounce. So does Gabriel. Remember, this is a goal kick. Yeah, their goalie kicked the ball route one, and once you let it bounce, you're open up to the trajectory of where that ball could be. And they played on it, and then Ballard got through there for the goal. And it really should have been defended better by Declan. You said the second goal, Gabriel was at fault there, got to be switched on. Yeah, I totally agree. International break has arrived at a crucial time. Careful monitoring of the squad is required as what I do want to see is one, but all out in terms of injuries. Yeah, and the thing is, because we've got some players nicked, those players coming back that I talked about, it's not like a Madueke, right? If he joins this week in practice, he ain't going to go and run off for England. That would be foolishness. So he's got to stay here. Same with Gyökeres. Same with Havertz. Same with Odegaard. Yeah, all them man there that is due back in the next 7 days should not be going to international duty. So that would really wind me up if that happens, D. D says Saka, like Eze, whether they have an off game always keeps the team shape, does not hinder the team chemistry. Agreed. And D says also, Leo's our most important technical. Isn't he so good? There's another I think it's Cam. Oh, here we go. Cam says, after rewatch, Trossard is so good, man. Amazed with Trossard's performance. He's getting better and better from one game to the next. So smart. Against Sunderland, doesn't need pace to break a low block. Yep, because it's all up here. And guys, do you remember, and again, this is in the game against Sunderland, do you remember when Trossard played? This is what number 10s are supposed to do. This is what Odegaard's good at. When you thread the needle through the defense, the eye of the storm, put the ball in there. He was on the left, slipped the ball through two defenders right onto Zumbamendi, and Zumbamendi miskicks the ball. That should have been a goal. If Zumbamendi gets any kind of contact on that, it's a goal. But Trossard doesn't get the accolades for that. Yeah? But when you see it in its entirety, Trossard's on it, man. He's on it. Both two-footed, reminds me of Santizola on the things he does. Really hope he wins the title. Yeah, I listen. Great quote. All right, guys, listen, that's it from me. Thank you guys for the deep dive. We had a really deep, strong look into it. Shout out to 18, shout out to D, shout out to Andrew. through. Shout out to Cam. Some really, really good questions tonight, guys. Let's keep this going. Love the analytical stance on these Monday nights. Let's keep it going. And I'll speak to you guys soon, man. Peace out, everybody. Big up to you guys.